Hello, everyone. I'm here. There we go. This is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. So, today I'm gonna continue drawing this, and the big thing that I need to do is actually start getting the proportions right. I think the perspective is actually looking pretty good. Her shoulders might be a little bit narrow, or her hips a little bit wide. One or the other. The perspective itself, I think, is mostly correct. I'm not sure if her feet are too small based on everything else I got going. There are things I have to figure out, more or less. But I think the first thing I have to figure out, the most important thing, is I need to decide what direction she's going to be facing. Because she has this little side ponytail going on here, and there's a little ball that's going to show up on her hair. And I need to figure out, okay, does it go on this side? Or does it kind of go on the back of her head here? With the way she's currently facing, it'd be on the back. But because this is such an important part of her silhouette, I am wondering if I need to make her face the other direction. And this is literally something I had to figure out right now, because it's going to change her entire outfit if I don't, because there's lots of asymmetry here. And in fact, I'm going to use a slightly different color as a placeholder, just so I can kind of figure this out. So, if I have it on the direction that it's currently facing, let me actually fix her hairband a little bit here. Its exact location isn't that important right now, but I want to have it kind of going in at the right place, so that this way I can get a relatively accurate feel for where this round bit of hair would actually be. Let me look at her side profile here. It goes behind it. So probably like right here or something. It's actually probably a little bit further down, but we're gonna pretend. We're gonna pretend that is a fine spot for it. And then if I want it to swish, it'd swish probably kind of like this. Which might be okay. This way it wouldn't go into her face, and I can just let it be as flowy and special as I want. I don't know. So that's one option, and then the other option, I will do that on a new layer, just to kind of test it out. If I wanted to switch everything the other way, then her side ponytail would be like right here, and it'd probably swish this way. So she's gonna have pigtails for a second, just while I figure out what I want her hair to be doing. You know, as you do. It's fine. That's a bit long. Let me get some better strokes here. More like maybe something like that. Yeah, her arm kind of interferes with it, so maybe this version is better. But at the same time, I kind of don't like that it disappears behind her head. This disappears behind her arm anyway, so let me think about that for a second. We'll just leave her in pigtail mode for a moment while I look at a few other things. So, since her arm and the paintbrush that she will be holding are relevant here, because they will be potentially blocking her hair if I decide to do it up there, let's work on those, and let me get a better hair flip here. I want to make sure that I actually make both sides look good, so that this way I can accurately pick which side I want her side ponytail on. Okay, that's fine. I think that would accurately represent, at least pretty close to what I would do when actually drawing it for real. Okay. So there we go. Pigtail Iofi here. Just being a placeholder. So, anyway, like I was saying, the brush and her hand here are somewhat relevant. So let's clean those up a little bit and try to get the perspective fairly accurate on them. I will be referencing the paintbrushes on her hip in her design. Specifically the pink one. Specifically the pink one. And I'm gonna need a different color for her hand because it is blending in with her hair here, so we're gonna make it purple. Placeholder colors everywhere you look. This is actually very, very normal when I start a new minimalist piece, just because I use very, very few colors. And if I started it in the colors that I actually intended to use, I would never be able to see anything. Never. It would all get lost. And that is actually like half the point of the style, so I don't consider it a problem. But it does generally mean I kind of have to figure things out in neon colors that hurt my eyes. I like to use the really, really bright colors because it means that I know for sure that that spot is still using placeholder colors. And I will very clearly be able to see that I need to clean it up later, and that is not correct. Okay, I'm gonna go put the paint part on a separate layer. So I'll go ahead and group this. It's gonna be brush. I guess I can probably put the whole brush in there, theoretically. But this will also make which color I use for the paint a little bit easier to decide on. Or a little bit easier to change. Because, like right now, it's hidden, but I have this big streak of paint coming out, and that's going to be the same color as the brush, roughly. And I don't know what color I want this to be yet. I actually get the feeling it will not be blue, because I would like to use the same shade of blue for her overalls in order to lower the amount of colors that I use. But if I do that, then, you know, the streak of paint and her overalls are going to be the same color, and that makes things complicated. It might make her stand out less, and I'm not sure if I want that, and various things like that. There are decisions to make. There are so many decisions to make. That is just what it means to start a new art piece. So many decisions. Okay. I am double checking the reference. It's like I know what kind of paintbrush this is, but I still want to get a good look at it. Help me figure out that kind of thing. Okay. So, there is like a silver part at the base, and then this color that I currently have as this weird flesh color should actually be pink. So I need to decide what color is the metal part going to be. I think I'll leave this part as just the weird flesh color for now. That's fine. That is absolutely fine for now. And I will go ahead and start trying to get the shape of the brush itself looking perspective-y as I continue to torture myself with nightmare perspective because I think it looks too dang cool. It's fine. It's worth it. Every time. Every time. Okay, that seems like a pretty fine shape. Let me erase the brush tip here, or no, I'm not going to erase it. I'm just going to hide it. And I'll use this yellow so that this way I can see the top of it and I can work out some perspective here. Like, we got some extreme perspective here. Like, I'm going all in, baby. Okay. So I think something like this will work. Yeah, seems pretty alright. And I'm just plopping this all in the same layer for now. I think it's fine. I might not want it to be that extreme, because then I'd have to make the hand small, and that wouldn't make sense with the rest of my perspective. So... So silence, yes. Okay, well, let's take a look at her hand here. So, we're gonna be wanting the hand on the brush, and holding it out like it's a secret weapon of some kind. So maybe what I will do... Who indeed. I have an idea for the pose in my head. I'm just trying to figure out how to get it to wrap around this brush properly, which means I kind of have to understand what I'm going for. So I'm gonna hold my tablet pen in my hand real quick and do the pose, and I'll get back to you. Decide which fingers are up and which fingers are just kind of wrapped around the base. It might make more sense to have the hand out like this. But I think I have thoughts. Let's see if I can make this work. I'm gonna put this at 50% opacity so that this way I can see the brush underneath. And yes, I use my own hand as a reference most of the time. Let me actually see if I can find something good on Google here. Okay, here's the tab I can use. Let's see here. Okay. So far, not so good. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Here's something. Oh man, but he's actually holding a brush and not being dramatic at all. Okay, let me try a more generic one. Okay, yeah, this works. In fact, I think I found something pretty close to what I'm going for. Let me do the pose again. Sorry, I know all this is invisible, but sometimes you gotta do stuff with... I gotta do stuff with my body, and I can't show that. Okay, I got it. I got the idea in my head. So, we're gonna have an index finger doing index finger things up there. The hand is gonna kind of wrap around. Then we got a thumb. I will... Actually, did I just do something? No, I didn't. Okay, we're good. I'm gonna put another layer down here, and this is gonna be the thumb. And that'll be underneath. It's gonna wrap around like that. And as always, just wanting to do silly, complicated hand things, so I have to kind of feel my way through it. But it's okay. But I'm gonna try to make things a little bit more structural. And the good news one of the upsides to minimalism, I often do not have to get it entirely correct. And she's not wearing gloves or anything, right? Just got hands. Yep. Does have a bracelet. But I believe it is on the other arm. So the only thing that I'd have to worry about here is a sleeve and all the paint kinda sitting on her arm. Okay. So now I want to make this a little bit more perspective-y, so I'm gonna, like, show the fingertip. And I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do that yet, but it'll be a little bit larger. No, I do like my liquefy there. That was pretty good. Krita just having a minor aneurysm is fine. This is probably too high up, but I will get it started here. And I think in order to be able to see this properly, I am going to need a nail. So let's make that green. And we'll just put a little fingernail on there. This is so not correct yet. Yes, because I want to see, like, the side of her finger a little bit more. So it's actually going to be a little bit more like this, and we're seeing more of the top as well, so that'll make it more like this. Yeah, there we go. There we go. This tends to be how I see shapes. I'm just like, okay, I blob something down and then I carve what I'm actually wanting out of it. Sometimes I wonder if I'd actually be good at sculpting. I've never actually tried. But that tends to be kind of how I think about it. Actually, I guess that's not true. If I haven't tried sculpting like traditional materials, but I have tried 3D modeling and using some of the sculpting tools there, and I didn't really like it very much, so I did not stick with it, but this doesn't really look like a pointer finger yet, but that's all right. We'll get there. As always, I just, you know, it's what I was just saying. I just gotta carve things out. But it at least looks like a hand now. And let me go look at my hand reference here. Okay, so we're gonna have, like, fingers coming down like this. They're just gonna be... They're just gonna be wrapping around there, and there'll probably be some, like, fingernails here. And then maybe I'll have the pinky stick out or something. Let me look at my pen here again, using my hand. Oh, I want the pinky to stick out. Nah. Nah. Okay, now let's make this just a little bit more perspective-y. But this is a start. This is a start. Okay, and then I want to push it into the right spot. And that doesn't really look like a hand yet, but, you know, that's okay. Like, I, need to kind of define where the palm is a little bit better, and all of that's this way the fingers can wrap around the brush a little bit more sanely. And that kind of thing. But... And then I think that the fingers should not be pointing that way. I will actually fix that now. The rest will come later. I have enough information to know that this is a hand. It is a hand wrapping around a brush, and I think it is doing its job for the time being. Let me take a look at my hand again, and... Okay. time, put the thumb a little bit more in here. And that'll be a thumb at some point. And I think that this is fine for now, because I have made the decision of which hair I like better, and I do like the hair going behind her instead of in front of her a little bit more. So we will eliminate Pigtail Iofi and let her have just the one. Just the one. Just because I do feel like the brush gets in the way a little bit. I do. So I would like to keep that out of the way of most of her features. And I'll just make this a little bit bigger than it actually is on her character design, just so that it's a little bit more visible. It's fine. I'm messing with perspective. I can make it as big as I want. There we go. And now we can see it. And once all of this is, you know, sane colors, it should look pretty all right. Okay. Since I got started, I'm going to go ahead and get just the basics of the brush in. And make sure it's all kind of pointed the way that I want it to. Connected where I want it to connect and all that. And I actually think this looks pretty all right so far. Let me make this just a little bit rounder, and then the main thing is I have to decide where the point of the brush is going to go, and I feel like it should be more like right here, whereas right now it feels like the point is here, and I think I want it to be here. So I have to make the shape of the brush a little bit less pointy. Gotta make it a little bit rounder here. And then I'll find a way to actually show the perspective of this at some point. I just want to get the basics right now. So it will be a little bit more pointy on that side. This side will be incredibly round. Very, very, very round, where this side is going to be a little bit less round. Gonna have a little bit more of the point to it. Because the point is not dead center. It's still off on the side. Something like that. Okay, yeah, seems about right. Maybe it should be a little bit lower. I'll go ahead and do that. Push it just a touch lower. But other than that, you know, this seems like a fine place to start. I will go ahead and kind of finish off what I want to have happen over here. Wielding that paintbrush like it's a lethal weapon. And we'll go from there. Okay. And let me make this a more, I don't know, more like it's paint on the tip of a paintbrush. Okay. Seems good to me. For now. As always, it's like most of this, it's placeholder, right? At some point, I'll go back and make everything look a little bit nicer. But this is fine for now. Let's go ahead and connect it to her arm. I'm gonna go ahead and hide her arm here. Is that a piece of her head? Sure is. We'll just let the bald spot stand for now. It's fine. In fact, we're gonna make her even more bald because her hair is slightly in the way for me figuring out what's going on with her shoulders. And I guess that's supposed to be her ear. I guess I should actually put that back on her head. Seems like a good place for an ear, if you ask me. Okay. Because some of those things changed, and yeah, and now she's got the alien look here with the big head, but it's fine. I will carve that out a little bit more accurately momentarily. But for now, I would like to connect her shoulders a little bit better. So I do think that it makes sense for her head to be partially covering the shoulder. I think this is probably why a lot of the time I have trouble starting new pieces, and it's just... every time I start something new, it just looks so mutant and terrible. And it takes a little while for me to actually like the way things look. And when I was newer to art, it took me a little while to be able to trust myself that, yes, eventually this will look fantastic. But, you know, now I do. Now I know I got this. And that all will be well. So, at some point, I just gotta trust the process. And at this point in my art, I actually do trust the process. Okay, there we go. I think that looks pretty alright. As evidenced by me saying that, you know, something like that looks pretty alright. I can see the perspective in the arm I just drew. I would not be surprised if many people could not, and they just look at that and wonder what exactly it is I'm trying to accomplish. But I see it. It makes sense to me. So now I just got to figure out where to actually place the hand. And I think it's right about here. Yeah. So we have an arm here. Do I dare try to put the sleeve on that yet? Yeah. Yeah, I think I do. Okay. Let's see here. Gotta take a look at her. And it looks like that sleeve is tight. So there won't be very much loose space for us to see. So it'll be a little bit more like if I take this. I can just kind of plop her sleeve here. And I will still keep my bright yellow to kind of let us see inside. There won't be very much to see, but there's a little. And then I can go ahead and more properly connect it to the rest of her body here. And I would not be surprised if this is the point where people can kind of see what I'm doing. I do not think I have the perspective on it 100% correct yet. Yeah, I don't think it's quite coming out of the right place on this side. So I'll go ahead and start trying to fix that a little bit. I just want it to connect. And that seems all right for now. Let's go turn her hair back on. Okay. Actually, before we turn her hair back on, I'm going to go ahead and carve the back of her head out. It's like the hair will eventually define this, but it is nice just to have this accurate just for the sake of being able to see a little bit more clearly. And her hairband is on fairly straight, so I would like to have it a little bit more straight on her head. I do not think the little bunny ears coming off are in the right direction, but I don't think I care yet. And then I want to make it look like a little bit more like her headband. There we go. Because it kind of goes behind her bangs. Okay. Am I happy with the back of her head? Yeah, I think that's good enough. And now when I'm ready to kind of finalize the hair a little bit more, I will have a decent reference on what the back of her hair should look like. I just find it a little bit easier to do it with the hair off because the hair can be very distracting. Okay. And is that good for now? Am I satisfied with where her hand is? I don't think I am. A little bit more that way. Which means that the sleeve may not be quite accurate, but, you know, again, I think it's fine for now. Because what I think I need to figure out, more than anything, is I need to start figuring out her proportions. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make some minor corrections on her eyes. I think they're actually looking pretty okay. I just think that when I did a bunch of my full body transform last time, that they got just a little bit stretched out. So I'm going to go ahead and push them a little closer together. I would actually like to stop the eyeballs from changing shape. So I'm just going to do everything else. Gonna make things look a little bit weird for a moment, but don't worry about it. Welcome to art. Things get kind of weird. Okay, I do think that those eyeballs are a little bit large now, so I will correct them somewhat. I'm gonna get this eye looking at me before I go ahead and get this one. They looked better before I transformed them. Always unfortunate when that happens. So let me go back to here. See what I had. See all the funny various eye shapes that I went through. Okay. I know what to do. There we go. I'm probably going to end up adjusting the gaze, you know, where she's looking many times before I'm satisfied. Just because that's something you want to get, like, perfect. And I think it's especially important in this particular style. Because, I mean, when you draw very little, everything suddenly becomes much more important. It's just the way it is. When you have lots and lots of details, people can ignore certain problems more easily, or maybe not so much ignore, but it's more likely that mistakes will get lost. They'll get lost in everything else that's happening. Whereas when you draw very little, then every little detail counts, because if it's even a little off, then man, does it really affect the entire thing. Okay, but I think that looks a little bit better. No, I have her eyes too close together again. Okay. It doesn't look like her yet. But I think that's okay for now. It will someday. And I mean, it's not just about the hair color or any of these things. It's... The shape of her eyes are not quite right yet, but I do not think that's relevant to what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now is I would just like to get all the proportions looking correct before I do much else. And so right now in my head, I'm looking at the plane from basically her nose to the corner of her eye here. So, you know, this thing, this box, and then figuring out where her jawline should be based on that. This is what I've been practicing off stream, and I still need a little bit more practice, but I can do it well enough for now, I think. I think that's a pretty cute little face. Maybe the mouth isn't quite high enough. Basically, I think that the nose and mouth are a little bit too far apart for the time being. And I was debating, is the nose too close to the eyes? But I think at the angle that we're looking at her at, I think that's right. So I'm going to move the mouth up just a little. It's going to give her a little bit of a big chin, but again, because of the angle, I think that is actually correct. Okay, I will not quite leave it like that. I'm going to rotate her eyes just a little bit more here. Okay, but I think I will leave that there for now, and I'm going to go try to figure out the proportions in her body. And for that, I might need to make her bald again for a little while, but that's fine. It's fine to make her bald for a little while. So I will go ahead and do that now. She's just going to be a little bald. It's fine. And because I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and clean up her jawline and the back of her head just a little bit more again, so that this way I can use it as an accurate reference for proportions. We're not going to see very much of the back of her head, so it's going to be pretty small. You can see I'm erasing even more than what I had last time. Someday she might even get eyebrows. Oh, won't that be an interesting day? So yeah, I still might have her hair sticking out a bit too much. But that's okay. That is something I can fix when the time comes. She's still looking a little cross-eyed, though. That I might fix depending on how much it bothers me in the next, 5 minutes. But I would like to move on to her body a little bit. I think her ear is a little bit too high up. Gotta line it up with the nose a little bit better. Maybe like right there. This will line up the mouth. And then we go up into the head. And then the head is nice and round through here. And I think that's okay. Okay. That should be a pretty good reference for what I need it for. So, next steps. I need to figure out where her various body parts should go. So the first thing I want to figure out is where her legs start. That should be about halfway down her body. And actually, I think even before that, I want to figure out how her shirt rests on her shoulders. Because, yeah, one of them is kind of hanging off the shoulder, but it's still, like, on the shoulder. It's hanging off a little, but maybe not quite as much as I have it. So I'm gonna liquefy this a little bit here. I'm gonna pull this back up here. This is firmly on her shoulder. So the way we should see the top, basically. And it should wrap around her neck a little. So kind of like this. Gonna blend into her head, so I might go back and make her head hot pink again. Or maybe I should make the shirt hot pink, I don't know. This is where the science is gonna come in later. Because I want to take my minimalist style where I let things kind of get lost in places and things kind of meld together and elevate it more or less. I want to make it stronger than it currently is. I think I will draw the sleeve on this arm on a different layer. And a part of what I would like to do with that is make it a bit more clear. And you know what? If I decide that doing this perspective with that style was a mistake, then I can actually do things like change my mind and go to a more traditional cel-shaded style for it, so... But I will start here for now. Hello there, Yudgy Kitty. Okay. So we'll let this wrap around her shoulder a little bit better. I still want it to hang off a little there. And I'm gonna go put in some strokes just so that this way I can understand what's going on a little bit better. So, her shirt has like a little fold here. Well, welcome back, Yudgy Kitty. Did you have a fun trip? So kinda... Oh, I see. That's why I drew it like that, because... Yeah, I see on her design that this side goes underneath the overall strap here. And then kind of wraps around her neck. I see. Well, I do suppose that those things would exist. What am I making today? Today I am drawing Iofifteen from Hololive. It does not look like her yet, but it will. So I am doing it in one of my minimalist styles, which means that everything looks like a complete mess at the very beginning, because I need to differentiate the colors somehow, because everything is just going to be like a solid block of various colors, and I would never be able to see if I didn't just use random colors to let me see pieces. So right now, I am trying to get the proportions right. A reference for the pose? No. The only reference I'm using is her character design, basically. But the pose is just in my head. So I am in the process of figuring out her proportions and stuff. Okay, so there's like a fold on her shirt here. Kinda like that. And then it kinda comes back up here. And we'll wrap back around the shoulder there, and I think that's pretty accurate. Let me work on her chest a bit to try to get that in a slightly better spot. Well, yeah, I'm sure I could find a reference for this particular pose if I looked hard enough, but man, finding exact references Can I ask? Okay. When you imagine a thing in your mind, does it have color? Generally, yes. What I draw, though, does not always reflect what's in my mind. Like this, needless to say, Iofif's hair is not neon red and orange. So in my head, it's white. Just like when I was working on Yuyuko before. From the beginning, I pictured there being butterflies in the foreground. But, in fact, it was literally the first thing I drew when I was working on her. But I hid them fairly early on and didn't bring them back until near the end. So, that just tends to be kind of how things work. For me, at least. Where, you know, I may have a mental image, but what goes down on the paper does not always match up immediately. Okay, and then I want to get this palette on the shirt. Oh, I have it on a separate layer. Most excellent. I kinda want to give it the feeling that it's angling down sharply. Because that'll make things more perspective-y. There we go. Okay, and I think that is about right. Yes. Perfect. Okay. I do think that is about how I wanted that part to look. So. I feel like I have her upper body looking pretty okay, so let's see if I can figure out where her legs start now. So I already know that the center of her torso is over here. That's why I drew the pocket on her overalls. And now, I want to figure out where this little spot that kind of is cut off over her hips. And where that's gonna go. Oh boy! Oh boy, indeed. Okay. Let's see, where do the straps of her overalls connect relative to the pocket? I'd say a little bit further to the side than I currently have it. So this probably goes a little bit further over to the side here. And I believe that I will eventually want the straps to be like right around here. So I'll start guiding these straps that way. Perspective is hard, but you know, if I try hard enough, I can make it even harder. Fairly common. Yes. Like when if you watch the VOD for part 1 of this, where I was just kind of getting started, I mentioned that I had a vague idea of the pose that I wanted, and that I wanted to play with the paint splatters, like what she's doing there, and then I have this layer in the foreground that I currently have hidden because it's in the way. And that was about all I had. So from there, I don't know, I started drawing. Sometimes I spent a little bit more time working out the pose in my head, but honestly, most of the time I find it easier just to jump right in. Just go. Just make the thing happen. Like, I was not initially planning on doing a hard perspective when I started drawing, but then I don't know, I did some foreshortening with the brush and I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's go. And so I just decided that this is what I was doing. So sometimes I just go in and kind of discover it. But I will say, for some of the ones that I take a little bit more seriously, and I like have a specific thing that I'm trying to showcase, or a specific idea that I want to convey, sometimes I'll spend a little bit more time workshopping that. That'd be like the purpose of thumbnails. If you've seen artists that start with thumbnails, that's what that kind of thing is good for. Alright, let's get this going over her shoulders a little bit more accurately now. So yeah, thumbnails, very good if you want to try to workshop some ideas in a very simple way. If there's like a specific thing that you want to do. I'm trying to think of one where I was trying to do something like that. I guess the header image for my channel is a fairly accurate, is one where I tried to do something like that. Because, I mean, I wanted it to be basically representative of me and everything that I do, so I wanted to get that kind of thing right. But even then, I mostly just focused on getting the pose, a solid idea for the pose and what I wanted to do there, and I wasn't so much sure on the background. The background I decided later. And I'm sure I could think of some others. I'd have to look through my gallery, and right now I want to get the straps and her overalls doing what I want them to do. And I know what I have to do to fix this. So, okay. I made things hard on myself because there's a twist. Because if there's no twist, this is easy. I just sent it out. So it should probably connect a little bit more like this. Be straighter around that part of her chest. Then change directions a little bit. Yeah. And then it'll change directions again when it's sitting on top of her shoulders, since we are seeing the top of her shoulders here. There we go. Okay, that makes sense. Top of her shoulders, I believe, start like right there. Perfect. And then I want it to... I need it to go down a little bit. Getting thinner also makes sense. Up here should actually probably be way thicker than it is. Is she a girl? Yes. Yes, she is. She has hair. It's just hiding right now. Because it's in the way. I can go turn it on for a second. But yeah, I mean, you can see it's covering up the part that I'm trying to figure out right now. So that's why... cannot have hair. That's why she is bald. And will probably be bald for a little while still. I just need to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I gotta make this thinner. Because perspective demands it. Okay, seems good. And then I want to make this wider because, again, the perspective demands it. And then I connect it to her shoulders. Her perspective doesn't really change very much. Shoulders, a little further back. I never do line art. Never. I do not sketch with lines. I sketch with colors. Or at the very least, values, depending on my mood, I guess. And what the final version will look like, because sometimes I do. Sometimes the final colors will just be grayscale. But yes. I sketch with blobs. I sketch with light. Because that's how I see things. sketching with lines has just never worked for me, so I don't do it. I cannot see volumes with contours because, well, I don't know why, but I just find it easier to see with shapes. So, I do it with shapes. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. So I think I'll leave that there. Pocket is hard because its shape is like this. So this is probably accurate, but it's still throwing me off. So I'm going to go ahead and make it inaccurate, but something that makes more sense with it being a rectangle rather than a parallelogram. So I'm just going to do that for the sake of my sanity. Actually, that's not right either, but it's fine. Here, more like this, I think. It is true. But I mean, most people just find contours easier to see. I am just not one of them. So I just draw with the colors. Draw with blobs. It's what has worked for me, so I see no reason to stop. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with the location of her chest and stuff. Let's see, where should her legs start? This leg is kind of swinging out this way. And this one kind of going around like this, but a little bit more out. So that is probably also throwing off what I see slightly. Because I just cannot do sane poses. Okay. Let's see. Am I satisfied with her shoulders here? Like, is this arm in a good spot? I don't think this arm is in a good spot yet. But what about this one? Yeah, I don't know. That's why I say, I mean, if you look at most people's process, they might, like, make a head like this or something. And, like this is extremely normal. And then maybe they, like, see the shoulder as, there's a neck, and then they see the shoulders as, like, a box, and they'll split it up like this. This is very normal. It's very normal to get started with contours. Even people that don't use guides like that, a lot of the time their sketches will, you know, go more like that, and that kind of thing. Again, very normal, and then they color it later. Even if they don't use line art, a lot of people still sketch like that. I mean, I've seen a lot of semi-realist painters, or even straight-up realist painters start like that. Just because, you know, they can see the volumes and the contours. I just can't. This is just how I go. It has nothing to do with how real life works. It's just... this particular method works really well for me, and so I roll with it. And so I just, instead of drawing a head like that, I draw a head like this. That's really the only difference. And then I might add another layer with another color, and then, you know, put in the neck and shoulders. And this is how I see things. But it's still a very similar idea. Everyone has to get started somewhere. I just find it easier with shapes and blobs of color instead of lines. It has nothing to do with how things look in real life. That comes later. Okay, I'm seeing her side now. Okay. I'm gonna think about how that leg is swinging out. Because the way I have her positioned here is... I guess I should bring this up here. Basically, that we have a center line here. And then she's twisting kinda back this way. So the center of her hips is like all the way over here. And it's doing things like this. So I need to figure out how the legs work. So I probably, like this leg is going to be completely on top. Let me see. Does she have... Okay, good. She does have a jean-like zipper running down the center there. So I can draw that. Okay, I will use this terrible color that I was using earlier. So theoretically, her leg should be doing something like this. And let's see. Man, she has like a huge thigh gap here. Okay. And then she also has the paintbrush holders. I'll draw those too. So I think it'll help me see. So that's just sitting midway around her thigh, which I think is going to be like here. So we'll make that super round. And then they'll just be sitting here. Actually, no, they sit in the side of her thigh, right? Yeah, so where's the front of her thigh? But the way this is twisting, I think the front is actually more like here. And then I just twist it more forward. So I think the side would actually be like here. Yes. Yes, I think that is correct. Maybe a little slightly further down, just based on where I have this. Okay. Yeah. I'm seeing something. Which might mean that I have her thigh a little bit too long. But then again, maybe not. Maybe I should just change how her body is twisting. Okay, let's hide the overalls for a second so I can see what I initially intended to do. As you can see, I just drew the clothes on top here. How the heck did I intend for her thighs to connect here? Okay, no, I think I see what I was doing. Okay. This is gonna be another day where Planckera uses, like, all of her brain power trying to figure out how this even works. It's okay. If you ask anyone who knows me, they will agree that I do enjoy making things harder than they need to sometimes. Okay, so... I'm just gonna take a look at what I had there. Legs... Let me draw her hips a little bit more thoroughly here. Let me take another color. Let's see, what color do I want here? Sure, we can use the orange. Oh, do I have this? Okay, I can actually merge these layers together now. So we probably have something like this going. If I were to give her some underwear, just to help me visualize this a little. Yeah, I mean, I think what I have is accurate and everything. So this will round out here. No, this is her stomach. Well, I am glad you're able to have some yummy food. Okay, so we got a tummy here, which means that the other side of her hips is over here. So if I have, like, a circle with a ball running through to kind of represent her pelvis, it would indeed be something like this. I don't think we see it. We kind of come out here, so... and the legs come out here. This one is going to be going this way. This one this way. And then the midpoint here. No, this is the stomach. And then we round out here. And then we see any part of her back there. Let me think about that for a second. We have her side. This represents like her very front. Where that strap is, it's going to run across her chest. And I think that means that we do indeed. So it starts here, this is the side, and then kind of turns into her back. And then the end of her kind of chest area is gonna go up kind of like this. Meet up here. Oh wow, I even have it drawn like that. Nice. Based on my layers. Okay. Yes, yes. I think I see. So her back is probably going to start showing a little bit here. Which is indeed pretty close to how I drew it, so excellent. Do I have this on... I think this is hips layer. Okay. Shenanigans. Okay, so let's structure her overalls like that. I might still need to move things around, but, you know, the level of structure that I'm putting in here is going to help me see things. So it's fine. I can change it as much as I need to later. So let's see, basically this opening is like halfway through her side. So I'm basically deciding where her side is going. I think it's going right about here. And then it'll come up and we see part of her backside here. She's doing quite the twist here. Okay, and once again, I want this to be in perspective, so because the perspective is so wild here, how do I do that? The questions to ask here. Okay. So in her original design, this would actually come, you know, if this is her side here, then the part that I'm drawing would, you know, be like this. It just goes like this. A little bit closer to the front than it is the back. But because I'm doing wild perspective, I think I actually want this line to be pretty dang close to straight. Okay, and then it'll start out pretty close to straight here, but then we'll expand wildly as we get to the top. And it's gonna roll over her hips. And let's see, does the paint run, the paint pocket run over her hips? And let's see, for the curious, here is Iofif's character design and the reference that I'm using. There you go. I'm not gonna plop it on screen this time because it would very much get in the way. I only reference it occasionally. I'm just doing it a lot today because I'm trying to get the finer details of her costume down. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go and kill the pocket here. What I'm gonna do instead, we're gonna go back to my overalls detail layer, and I'm gonna go ahead and put on one of her buttons. And I think that'll help me see what I'm doing a little bit better than that pocket would, just due to its unusual shape. Okay, so where do the buttons go? They're gonna be like lined up perfectly with the strap here. So even though they're different colors, I'm gonna draw them both the same color for now. And they're gonna go practically one right below the other, even though technically they do not do that, again, just because of the kind of extreme perspective here. In fact, I'm gonna make it even more perspective-y. We're just gonna go super in here. Okay. I will grab the second one and move it over just a touch, though. Okay. I want to try to draw the pocket here. I guess a little. She is tilted that way, right? Yes. That doesn't seem quite right. This is why I was thinking of skipping it for now. Let me... Okay. Rather than worry about that, I'm gonna go take a look at the top of her overalls here because she is, in theory, tilted this way. Go ahead and just make sure we have shirt here. Yes, yes. She is, in theory, tilted this way, so I should also tilt the little symbol on her shirt that way, and half of it should be hanging off, actually. Go ahead and group these together. Just so I don't have to keep adjusting that. And... I am trying to figure out where, like, the hole in the palette goes. Does it run underneath hers? Okay, so the symbol on her shirt does run underneath this strap, but not the one that's over here that we can't see. Okay, and I will make this a little bit more perspective-y in just a minute. Okay, but I think something like that should work. Let's perspectivify this. And let's see here. I don't know, that still doesn't seem quite right. It's too small. Something about her just doesn't feel like her shoulders are tilted like this way, even though they definitely should be. I think it's her chest. I still have her chest tilted that way, don't I? Yeah, because initially when I was drawing this, I did have her tilted that way, but then I realized that it made more sense to have her tilted that way. And I do not think I adjusted everything to compensate. Okay. Well, let's start doing that. That seems like a good idea. Just a matter of how. Okay. First off, I think that this part of her shirt needs to come down a little bit more, and then the part that will eventually represent her shoulders here needs to come down a little bit more too. Right now it's purple, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, and I think that also means I need to lower this arm. We're just gonna really bring it down. Okay. I think that fixed a lot of problems, actually. Now then. If her shoulders are facing this way, that probably means that I have this strap slightly out of perspective again, so let's go ahead and use Liquify to kind of fold it into place here. So let's see. Below the chest is here. That should be a little bit higher up. So it should be probably about here. Then on top of the chest is going to be more like this, which will bring the part resting on top of her shoulders a little bit higher, more like that. Ah, the joy proportions. Phew. I am still terrible at them, and I get the feeling I always will be, but that's fine. I can make it work. I am practicing, though. I'm doing my best. And at the very least, it hasn't stopped me from doing overly ambitious posing. Yay! Okay. Now I'll go ahead and try to liquefy this guy into place. Kinda know what I want to do here, so here's hoping I can just get it working with Liquify, and I don't have to pull any shenanigans. And in fact, I think I will actually bring the chest on this part of her shirt down just shape it all with the Liquify. Liquify makes life easier. And I want to make this just a tad rounder, I think. Gotta have that round energy in there, you know? We'll let this come off of her just a little bit, let it kind of poof out. I'll probably draw a back part there at some point, but for now, we'll just let it kind of poof out a bit. There we go. This way it doesn't look like the overalls are stuck to her skin and that they have a bit of thickness to them. Okay. I think I can just have all of my guides on the same layer again. Okay. Still don't think this is correct, but part of that is like because I need to do something like this. I just need to shape it a little bit more correctly. Just half of it is wrapped around her side here. So we're only seeing like the very front of it, and I need to figure out where... Yeah, like the halfway point is... Unfortunately, it's not like dead center in her shirt, so it is confusing me slightly. But I guess that seems okay. I'll leave it there for now. Let's see about this pocket. So, on the details of her overalls, there's like some seams running across the top where the straps will eventually connect to. And I think drawing those seams will help me as well. So they're going to be running kind of this way. And if I'm going with extreme perspective here, do I make them round? Do I make them round? I actually have to think about that for a second. Hold on. Because, like, basically in my head, one of the things that you can do to make things look more extreme in perspective, especially when they're wrapping around something round like a person's body, is just make them a little bit rounder. Like, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Like, this thing that I have on her thigh there, if I wanted it to be like further down and on her shin here, I'd actually draw it more like this. So this way it looks like it's, you know, really pointing down and starting to wrap around there. And this is extremely round. Like, I'm not even sure if that's round enough. It might actually be more, if I wanted it there, it'd be more accurate to do it like this. Like, when perspective gets weird, things get round, basically. And so I'm like, okay, so perspective is getting a bit weird here. Doesn't make more sense for this piece of overalls that are like relatively a straight line on her actual character design. I do think that they dip a little bit, but if you look at the character design, they're like pants, and I'll just draw pants. It's not exactly like that, but you know, they're pants that are connected by straps. It's fine, as overalls do. And so the question I'm asking myself is her stomach round enough and pointed downward enough that I should draw it like this in order to make it look more in perspective? Like on her legs, the answer is obviously yes. Like, definitely. But I'm not quite sure about the stomach. I'll try it. Alright, Liquify, help me make some things round. So you know I like making things round where I can. At the very least... I don't hate it, but I think I actually want them to kind of fly off a little bit more. I think that will be very cute, and then we'll see the other strap kind of coming back out here. Or eventually it'll hang off her shoulder over here, but that's gonna be covered up by stuff. Oh yeah, I think that's cute. And then, like, this will be on front. So I'll just go ahead and leave a little hole there for perspective's sake. And this will come behind her at some point. I will probably put this on a different layer, but right now I'm just kind of derping around. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put this on a layer below the shirt. That'll make it easier to draw. And for the time being, I'll go ahead and make it this color. It probably will not be this color forever, but this will make it easier for me to see. Like, I can more clearly see that it is going into the back now. I feel like that totally messes with her whole silhouette, though. So I don't know if I like it. I think it's fine. If I decide to get rid of it later, that's okay too. Okay. Anyway, back to figuring out what I want to do with these. Do I wish for them to be round? I kind of dig it, honestly. So we'll make them round. Extreme perspective, how I love you, and yet, how hard you are. Okay. Now, I think I will simplify the shape of the shirt symbol for now. So the symbol on her shirt is a little paint palette, and it's very cute. But for now, I'm going to make it a rectangle. Just because I am having a little bit of trouble understanding it. And right now, I just want to keep things simple. How far does it go? Okay, it does not go below the overalls at all. Okay, is this accurate? Kinda. It is closer than I was 30 seconds ago, so I will take it. It's okay. I think I am figuring out this faster than I would have even as early as 2 weeks ago. And I do think that this needs to be a little bit closer to her neck here. Let's just get some nice shapes up in here. And we'll bring this a little bit closer here. Slim that figure a little bit and hopefully get some more interesting perspective as well. Right now, looking perhaps a little bit too thick. Okay. I might just end up hiding that layer entirely at some point, but for now I'll just erase as I go, as I discover new things about how I think all of this should be shaped. Okay. And I think this needs to open in the other direction. So like this. And I just want to make this part rounder. I will adjust the buttons a little bit afterward, but for now, roundness. And this part as well, and we'll make down here a little bit narrower. Okay. Is her butt in the right place? So, what I'm looking at now is when I proportion bodies that have weird perspective, basically, I am looking for the halfway point between her, her entire body, excluding her head. So from her shoulders to her feet, where is the halfway point here? And in perspective like this, it's not always easy to tell. So I will go ahead and lower the opacity on her clothes again. And I'm gonna go ahead and subdivide my guidelines here. So the way that I have things structured, I have her chest. Something like, I'll keep the purple here. So we have this part facing up. And then her chest is doing something like this. Or we have this, and then it goes up like this. The green spots are inaccurate now, so that's okay. I'll go ahead and paint over them. So it's got to be kind of like this. And then armpit here. And this is the side. And we get more side over here. And we go down here, and I think if this is her chest, I believe if I subdivide the body once, I should get, her torso and her legs. If I subdivide that torso part, I should get her chest and her stomach. And if I subdivide the leg part, I should get her thighs and the subdivision should be at her knees, so I should get her thighs and her shins and feet. So, where is all these halfway points? Where are all these halfway points? That is the question I'm asking myself. Things are going to get wider up here. Even ignoring there being a chest, this is like the top. I think I had that like white, and then this purple. Oh yeah, but I can't use white because her head is white, so I'll use this yellow instead. So this is the top of her shoulders. Over here we got things starting to kind of roll into her back. This is her chest area. And her shoulders are shaped like this. This shoulder goes down. This one goes up. And then we have this. So this is where things are going to start kind of going down. Maybe I shouldn't have used yellow since that's what I used for her arm here. So things are going to start going down here. And then we have her side, which I have decided is green. And we will have, like, if this is a box, it'll be like this. Her clothes are being distracting, so I'm going to go ahead and clear them while I refigure this out. I think the clothes already have the energy of the pose in them, so I'm able to kind of keep that and go ahead and clear this. We're not going to worry about the existence of a chest right now. Just hips. Okay. We have the shoulders there, and the box will come down like this. This corner here brings it down here. I'll probably have to redraw this a few times in order to really get it right, but that's okay. Okay, and then from the top here, this is where the side of the box should go. Something like that. But I have a slight twist to her body here, so this is going more like that. So this part kind of around her waist. Okay, but this will at least give me where the halfway point of this box is, so chest somewhere around there. I think I have it a little bit higher up. But I also kind of have her puffing her chest out a bit, so I think that's okay. So legs, in theory, here. Yes. So if legs, in theory, here... then the thigh will connect a little bit lower than where I currently have it, I think. Which makes sense, because on her outfit, the top part of her... the part of her overalls that's on her front side is way higher than the part that's on her back side. Okay. Let's bring the opacity back up here. And more liquefied victory. Okay, and I do think I want this just a little bit lower on her leg here. And actually, this pocket guy here is a little bit big, so I'm just going to put the strap on for now. Because this is wrapping all the way around her leg, and I think this will be enough to give me solid perspective on the direction of everything. Okay. I'm getting there, just kind of working my way down. Man, had a big cough there. I muted in time, so not gonna be coughing in your guys' ears. Need this to hang open a little bit more. Okay. Short, simple. Now that this is something that'll give me a really nice landmark, so I would like to figure out the perspective on that. Because if I can, well, I will have yet another thing kind of telling me what direction everything is going. Let me reference this again. If we draw it... Okay, I'm just going to draw it all the way across where I'm defining her chest here. I definitely have that too high, don't I? No, what I have too high, or too low, is actually the side of her shirt. So, like, this side is fine, but this side needs to come up more, and then I'll go ahead and roll this out just a bit. Really should not have used yellow there, but choices were made. So, here we are. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna be saying that a lot, because I'm hoping that at some point I will have the breakthrough that I need. But I do feel like every step I take does take me one little step closer. So, that's good. Let's see, how does this arm connect? Where did I put your arm? Okay, there it is. And then her shoulder is probably more like right here. Yeah, and at this angle, I do indeed think that it would cover part of her overall strap. So I think that this is accurate. that I just kind of need to figure out where exactly her armpit is. And I think figuring out that connection. So the way I'm approaching this right now is I'm going in and trying to figure out where the various parts of her body connects to the other various parts of her body. So for a while when I was down here, I was like, okay, how do her legs connect to her hips? And up here, I'm like, okay, how does her chest connect to her neck? And I do actually have the neck drawn. We just can't see it right now because the head is sitting on it. So this is no longer accurate, of course, but I did draw it when I was trying to figure things out earlier. And now I actually think that back arm is a little bit big. And you know, the second that I decided to do more extreme proportions here, I knew that I was probably going to be flailing around with them for a little while. It is what it is. It comes with the territory, basically. I'm going to go ahead and make that orange. And I do feel like I should actually see just a little bit more of that shoulder here. And I'm attempting to be structural at it, but like I said, I'm not super good at this yet. I am still working on it. Okay. Now then, I was trying to figure out where the symbol on her shirt should go, because I was looking at, okay, where does her chest end? And I think it is shaped kind of like this. So this is like the shape of her chest. That does look correct to me. And then, of course, it's a little bit round. But if I were to draw a shadow to represent that, it would be something like this. Maybe this a little bit more extreme. But something like that. Maybe I need to rotate this just a little bit more and then lower this part of her chest. Okay, yeah, that seems pretty alright. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this fold that I put in. It is no longer helping me visualize things, so I will axe it. We'll let the shirt fold open like this. Oops. Okay. Seems a little bit better. Do I feel like it is sticking out a little bit? Just over here. I know I just said that I think I should make it a little bit bigger, but I am wondering if that was true. Okay, I'm going to shape this overall strap a little bit more. I think getting the shape of this is actually quite important to visualizing what's going on here. All I'm doing right now is doing my best to allow myself to see what is actually going on. So that this way, hopefully, eventually I can start working my way towards better accuracy. And I am not sure if anything that I'm saying is making sense. If you ever want me to clarify, feel free to ask. But this is basically what's going on in my head when I draw, and it is like just taking in what I see and then asking myself, why doesn't this look quite right? and then going from there. Another way to describe it would be lots and lots of panicking. Like, unironically, there is so much panicking. But I do eventually get my way through. Okay, let's see here. I do not think that her shoulder should be covering up the strap quite that much, or rather her sleeve. So this tells me that I probably want to tone this back just a little bit. And I'll probably periodically flip the canvas around and take a look around. Just try to get all of that. Okay, but that's looking alright. I do think that her legs are looking a little bit short here. Like, obviously they're going to be significantly shorter than the rest of her body. In this kind of perspective. But I think they might still be a little bit too short. And I don't think I can twist the leg quite like I have it right now. Okay. That is a good thing to realize. So, in that case, let me go hide that for a second. If I don't feel like I can twist the leg quite like this, how do I feel like I can twist the leg? How should it be twisted? Maybe a little bit more like this. I'll just draw it in square form for now, so this way I can make it more perspective-y. Squares are a little bit easier to do in perspective than round stuff. But I also feel like the legs need to be, like, underneath her. Like, maybe that's another thing I'm not doing quite right, now that I think about it. I don't have a lot of parts going underneath each other. So, like, the head is clearly sitting on top of her shoulders. You don't see her neck at all. So I think that's done well. But I'm not sure... How do I get her feet under her? Or her legs under her? Actually, unironically, how do I do that? Because I think that would actually do a lot here. Let's see. Because right now I think I have them sitting on top, yeah. Okay. Again, I just ask myself, why does this look wrong? And eventually I come up with answers. So how do I get a leg to be underneath? I think I'm actually gonna go look at some reference here. Okay, so found a picture of a random guy. How do I get the legs underneath? This is a much simpler pose than what I'm drawing, but that's fine. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't draw her feet so small. That might help. I'm gonna stare at this for a second. Okay, so I think for that I have to spend a little bit more time understanding her stomach. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just hide her legs. We are just going to get rid of the legs, and I will also get rid of the overalls that are supposed to go over her legs, and we're just going to focus entirely on her hips for a little bit. Because yeah, when I look at this, we don't really see proper, like, hip joints or anything. Okay. Okay. I think it's fine for this to hang off a little bit, but I'm gonna really push all of this in a little bit more. And I'm going back to box. I am going back to pure box. Still gonna try to keep her chest. I think I have this area looking pretty alright, but now that I think about it, this might need to be round. Remember how I said that if you want to make something look curved, make it extremely round. Oh, there you go. This is the kind of thing I was talking about. Just make it super, super round. And I'll just go back to trying to carve this out here. So let's see what I got. We're kind of seeing her chest from the top. Let me actually find a picture of a lady. Kind of doing what I'm looking to do here. Perspective. It's okay. My goal for today is just to start getting those things the way that I want them. Do we see any of her back here? Probably just a little bit. Just a little bit there. Okay. For a moment, I'm gonna pretend like this is a dress. Like the overalls are a dress, and I can actually kinda... Actually, let me see. Can I find somebody wearing overalls in that kind of extreme pose? Not really, okay. That is unfortunate. It would have been nice to be able to find something like that. Okay. I think the big thing making this harder on me is just that I want to have this nice twist in her hips here, but if I can get that, I think that'll look fantastic. I really do like the energy in this pose. I do. It's great. Ooh, just can't I draw it? Is this within my current abilities? I actually really do think it is. I do. It's just not easy. See, this is why I haven't been able to start my next practice headshot. I tried a couple, yesterday, but my brain was just so fried. Oh, man. Because trying to work all this out is really, really hard. Okay. Let us carve out the shirt symbol a little bit. So it's a palette, so it'll be round. And then there will be a little dent right here, and that's where the artist would put their thumb while they're holding it. Perfect. I actually think that's about right. Yeah, am I going to be able to do a pose like this in minimalism? That is my other question. It's like, can I make this read with very little information? That is something I'm extremely concerned about. Like, if I was shading this proper, it wouldn't be hard. It's like I'd put this area in shadow, and it'd be more easily understood. Ooh. It is true, I don't normally do weird perspective with my minimalist style. So maybe I should switch to a more proper cel-shaded style here. Because I don't really want to give up the weird perspective. Okay, well, you know what? I can change colors pretty easily later. And I think having real shading might help me, so let's just go ahead and do that for now. And if I change my mind later, I change my mind later. I'll still keep a lot of the weird colors, like, they're fine. But let's go ahead and do this. Just because it'll make my life a little bit easier. I'll be able to actually see. Seeing right now sounds fantastic. I'll go ahead and... These are fine just being black for now. So I'll go ahead and leave them. But this will probably start looking a lot more like what I normally draw. Part of me is a little bit sad. I was looking forward to derping around with more minimalism, but mistakes were made. And the more I look at it, the more that I think this will just not pan out quite correctly if I continue my current course. Okay, so now I can put in the necessary shadows here to show that this is the side of her body. Okay. And we'll put a little bit underneath here where her chest will go. Alright, I'll go ahead and put a nice dark skin tone here. A lot of these colors will change. They normally do. But this will help get me started. Okay, and indeed, I'm already kind of starting to see some stuff. It's amazing what just a little bit of shading can do for you. Like, where is her shoulder coming out here? We have one shoulder coming out here, and then the other one I think should be... Oh, I have you locked. Should not have you locked. We have one kind of coming out here, and then the other one I think will come out kind of like this. Okay. And I think that already makes more sense than what I had before. Okay. I'm going to focus on getting her shirt to look right here. It's going to be tucked in, of course, but I think if I can see where the bottom goes, I will have an easier time. Oh, it's long. It's long. And then this needs to be like super round. Exactly what I was saying before, just making things round. And I might even add a third color on the side here, but I think these two are enough for now. But I'd say this is starting to look like a torso. I like the strap too much to give it up, but I think I would like to treat the overalls as pants right now, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this to a new layer. Actually, nah. Nah. I'll leave it as it is. Okay. No. That does mean I have to bring it to a new layer. Okay. So, we'll do that. And then I'm going to tuck in her shirt here. So this will be the waist. And let me also get a more accurate color here, since I may or may not be doing proper minimalism anymore. So we'll actually use the color of her overalls now. Okay. Oops. And I will find a nice shadow color for myself. Seems good to me. Or, oh no, I clicked twice, didn't I? Okay, let me pick again. Yep, that seems good to me. Back to normal, and yeah, let's go ahead and put some shadows on here. This will be from her head, and this will just be from her chest. Okay, and I feel like that's sitting on her shoulders pretty well. It's like, yes, I will draw the strap as many times as necessary to get the perspective right. This is an incredibly important spot for perspective. Okay. And now I can draw these like pants. I'm going to go ahead and hide the strap for now, and I will draw these like pants. Okay. So they will wrap around her waist. And I will turn these into overalls later. Yeah, this is still not wrapped around, and I also think that her waist is probably a little bit higher up. Yeah, just a little. And I also think that she's still a little bit too thick through here. Really gotta angle that down. Okay. Back to overalls. Let's figure out the shape of her waist. this point, I am not using anything down here. I can't delete the layer entirely because it's also up here, which I actually do want to use, so here we are. Here we are, and I'm guessing this is my neck layer clipping. Okay. Okay, back to what I was doing. So let's see, we'll have a dark side over here, where she's twisting. This will be the front, this will be the side. I actually do think it is possible to do weird perspective in my minimalist style. I have done so once. I did it in one of my speed paints. But, like, there's weird perspective, and then there's this. Alright. Yeah, maybe I don't have her chest quite big enough either. Where's the center of her chest? The way I have it drawn, it's like way over here. Okay. I have another idea. I need this to kind of hang over things a little bit more. So we see it a little bit more from the top. Let me hide the shirt symbol again. Where exactly is the center here? I just don't want her chest to look too large. Because it's really not. So we kind of have her back arched a little bit, so the top of her chest should be facing kind of upward a little bit more, and then the bottom going into her stomach, I think, should be a little bit more like this. This shirt looks absolutely skin tight right now, but that is fine. I will fix that a little bit later. Okay, let's see. Where's her belly button? Probably like right there. No, I want it to be over here. Yes, I want it to be over here. Okay. Once again, I feel like I'm getting somewhere, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'm not going to worry about the fold in the collar of her shirt for now. I'm just going to keep it straight, just to help me picture things, and I still will put the shadow from her neck and head and stuff. But everything else, I'm just going to keep it simple here. And I think it's actually fine to have her arm connect like this. I mean, obviously I'm going to have to adjust the arm layer. I think the arm actually has to be a little bit higher. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't have your shoulder in that group. I probably should. but I'll keep it like this for now, just to stop me from driving myself crazy. And I do not mind this area being in light. Unfortunately, it's like her shirt looks really close to her skin tone, so that's a little awkward. But I assure you, there is a shirt there. It's just how things ended up shaking out with the shadows. Alright, let's see if I can get this arm a little better defined here. Let's see if I can get this arm a little bit better defined here. I do not know, if I'm being honest. Maybe I should hide her head again and figure out her shoulders real quick. Yeah, like I said, neck, no longer accurate. I should probably just delete it and start over, to be honest. Okay. So let's see, we have her back kinda over here. What layer are you? Are you a piece of the shirt? Okay. I'll still keep the name Hips, it's fine. We'll put a little stub where her neck is gonna go. That's fine. Probably about all I need. How are her shoulders gonna shake out from that? Something like this. And then if I hide the arm entirely. Let's see if I can kind of connect it on just over here. Yeah, maybe not on the shirt layer. We'll just go ahead and give her a tank top for now. That actually seems fine. Just enough to help me with the perspective here. Okay, I'm gonna make it nice and round here because I think that's the shape of the shoulder. And I do think that it probably comes more out. Okay. And so now let's get the shoulder in there. And try to get that accurate. Does mean I need to hide the shirt for a second. Okay. Feels weird to be using the darker color for the top, but you know, it's fine. I unironically think it is. Just because the colors right now don't really matter. They don't. Okay, is that right? I think that's probably right. Okay, and connect this a little bit better. Perspective. I'm screaming on the inside so much. But it's okay. I mean, I do think it's looking good. You know what? Rather than try to make that get the shape that I like there, but at the size that I want, we're just gonna push that in. We're just gonna push that in. Okay, I'm just gonna make these folds because I think that will actually give me an easier time. Let me have an easier time understanding this because, oh god. Anatomy, man. Okay. And you can see that I'm drawing all the folds toward the middle. Once I started doing that, it started making sense, which is why I was doing it. And then I think I just want her pseudo pants to be more up here. Yes? Yes? But I'm defining that as her waist, not where the overalls are going to go. So I think her waist is like right there at this angle. And right now, once again, I'm asking myself, why does this angle have to be so dang good? If it was bad, I could just pick an easier one. It'd be fine. But oh god, it's so good. It's so good. So here I am, figuring out the weird angle. It's okay. It'll be worth it in the end, I think. Let's go ahead and get her shoulder on here. We'll get a sleeve going. Yeah, let's connect it to the sleeve that I kind of had drawn. It's all gonna come out here. And once again, I think I'm okay with leaving this the light color. What I will probably do when the time comes is I'm gonna go back to the shirt layer and I'm gonna draw some light parts coming out here. And that'll kind of define how all of that's moving. And then later I will go in and I will put shadows on this layer itself. And that's just how this is going to roll. I'm going to take the shadow color that I'm using here and plop it there. Okay, and I would like this circle to be a little bit more round and the light color to be a little bit less visible because I want it to come a little bit further forward. I really want to make it look like her arm is coming directly towards us. Okay. And then can I just put her arm on this and have it look good? Yeah, that looks pretty legit. Cool. All right. Phew, I think I've got one mystery solved. Maybe. Maybe. Mayhaps. We'll see if I still like this tomorrow. Or probably more accurately on Sunday. Or Monday, excuse me. We'll see if I still like it on Monday. Okay, let me get her shirt drawn. I guess it's going to be a V-neck. That's fine. I think her actual shirt is a V-neck. It's just a very loose one. So I will do that. Okay, a little bit lower cut than I want, I think. Or no. No, this is the top of her shoulders. Then no, I do think that is correct. Okay. Cool. Let's do some more pants. Okay, let's wrap these pants around her midsection here. And then I think from here, I would actually like another dark color for the shirt before I go and do more pants. I have changed my mind, as I do. I wish she would be a little bit less flesh-toned, so let's go into multiply. I will just use a light purple. And then, like, under the armpit and stuff, I would like her side to be just a little bit more in shadow. And then as it gets further and further down, we get more and more shadow because we're seeing more and more of her side. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then as I go and do more overalls, we will see even more of her side here. I really, really like that twist, so I would really like to keep it. That is, I mean, look at that. It's just a fantastic twist, right? Okay. And then in theory, we should have a leg coming out of this. And it's gonna be kind of going straight down. Okay, I think I got something here. And then the leg itself, kind of doing something like this. I'll just pull this leg out of the shadows. And then I do think I need to have this layer in order to properly do leg stuff, but I'm just gonna redraw it here. So we have a leg, like her hip is gonna be way back here. Maybe I should send it upward. Will that make it more clear? I don't know. I think here is plenty clear. And we'll put the light on it. But we're not going to see the entire thigh. Like, half of it is going to be hidden behind her leg. So I gotta be careful with making it too beefy. And her legs are, like, super, super skinny. Yeah. Yeah, she's got skinny legs. She does not have thick thighs. So I should make sure that her thighs are not too thick here. Maybe just a touch longer. Okay, and then if I draw her lower leg, that I will do with a flesh tone. It'll just go down like this. The calf is going to be like barely visible, and I think I can just go straight into the ankles. And then there will be a foot. There will be a foot that is... What's the foot doing? Can I just do it like this? I'm just going to use the neon green for now. I guess that's okay. I'll leave it like that for now. And then I want to do something similar for the other leg, so I'll go ahead and use the flesh tone. Like, this one is supposed to be like super straight though. Like, drop kicking things. And we just go in and immediately see calf. But it'll be fairly small and short. Like her calf is going to be partially under her thigh here. I think that thigh might be too thick, but I'll worry about it in a little bit. And then I don't think I'm going to be able to get the perspective on the shoe right until I actually start like putting details on it. I don't really want to right now, so I'll go ahead and kind of define where the front is. Because it's like tilting upward. And maybe we see just a little bit of that part of her shoe. But mostly it's the top. Okay. I don't think it's quite right yet. But it's getting there. Let's see. Yeah. Show a little bit more of the arm. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to connect that arm. Nah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it just yet. Let's turn her hair back on. Right now she's looking more chibi, which maybe is fine. Chibis are cute, right? But it's not quite what I'm going for. Do I just make her head smaller? Yeah, I don't really want to go for chibi. Chibis are cute, but it's not what I'm going for. I'd rather succeed at what I'm trying to draw than just get something that looks right. Because I want to get good at perspective like this. I like perspective like this. It's so cool. It's so cool when you can get it right. And I genuinely think I can get it right. I do. I think I can do it. I don't want to give up. Okay, let's figure out where I should put this head and how big it should be. It's fine. I haven't started refining anything because I know that I'm just going to keep making things bigger and smaller just all the time. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and connect her arm. Because I apparently want to do a bunch of foreshortening today, and you know what? That's fine. Let's go poke at this hand a little bit too. See if I can work out where her wrist and palm and stuff are. So we have fingers going here. Let's go ahead and start making these fleshy toned. That's right. I have the brush of fleshy tone right now. Okay, well, since things are slowly becoming the correct colors, let's go ahead and make it pink. Because that brush is pink. I do not... No... I was gonna say, I do not think that that was a good pink, and it's true, I don't, so I picked it from a different spot. There we go. So now we'll make things fleshy toned, okay? I'll worry about the thumbs later. She can have neon green nail polish for a little while. I'm sure it's very stylish. Actually, does she have nail polish? She does, it's pink. Which means that is definitely going to be a color I do later. Okay. So the way I have this drawn right now is there's a finger here. And it kind of leads into her other fingers here. Which, I mean, obviously this makes no sense, right? Yes. I think we can agree that that is nonsensical. Let me go ahead and take a look at my hand again. For the thing that I am going for. Strictly speaking, the pose that I have her hand in is slightly nonsensical at best, but, you know, I really wanted to have a part going really, really far forward. Just to show the perspective, and I think that'll look nice. I do. So I'm gonna keep it like that, and it's fine. It can be a little bit nonsensical. Art is cool like that. You can... You need some of it to make sense, but it's okay to have a little bit of nonsense. And I can hold a pen like this, so I assume that somebody can hold a paintbrush like this. Might hurt your wrist a little to actually draw like this, though. Let's see, how is this wrapping around here? Okay. Got it. We actually will not see most of the fingers here. And you know what? While I'm fixing colors on things, let's go ahead and make her hair the correct color. I can start separating it with shadows. And I can put some shadows on the face so it doesn't quite blend in. But there we go. Just try to make things look a little bit more like Iofi. There we go. Get rid of her blue ear for now. That I may or may not draw. We'll see. Okay, there we go. There we go. Lower body, still not there. But maybe I can at least get her upper body looking good in the next 20 minutes. And we'll just take shots from close up where you don't see anything down there. And I really was hoping to get her legs, but I don't think that's happening. So let's just focus on this hand. Because this is also a little bit difficult to draw. Do I have her hand drawn backwards? Ah, shoot, I might. I do that a lot. Let's see, if I actually had it like... I totally have her hand drawn backwards, okay. Well, that would explain why I was having a hard time getting it right, you know? Okay. Let me push the finger over here then. Okay. Now I can draw the fingers go in the right direction. Let's do it. Whoops. That's kind of the downside of using your own hand as a reference, is that it's really easy to start to draw the hand going the wrong way, unfortunately. Gosh, then how does that wrap? How does that wrap around here? Okay. Just trying to make sense of this, which is, good luck, man. Hands. There's something else. And then it kind of wraps around like this, but that looks like her finger's bending the wrong direction. But I'm gonna invert the colors here just so I can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay. It is fairly similar in color to her sleeve, her skin tone, that is. And we have fingers coming out there, and in theory, there should be like a palm that they connect to. You know, in theory. In theory... Let's see, so this does have her finger and thumb on the inside of her body, right? If she lowers her body, then yes. Yes, this is correct. So let me go ahead and make this pose with my hand again. Kind of twisting it, so this way it kind of gets to be in the right direction. And in order for the thumb to be visible, what I actually need to do is a little bit more like... a little bit more like this. This does mean I need to make her thumb a bit shorter too. Okay, seems all right. And we'll see a little bit more of the side of her hand. So it'll connect out to the thumb like this. This finger will come up and over here. This is actually the top of the finger. And then the rest will do something like this. Okay. Still looks a little strange, but once again, I think I'll leave it there for now. Let's see how much further I can get on the legs. Because mostly I just think they're too small. So if I just take all of my leg-related things and make them larger and longer, will that work out for me? You know, after I fix the area around her waist. No, that just makes her look even more, like, super deformed. It does. Man, tricky. Alright, well, I did find some references to stare at, so I'll do that. Okay, I think I know what's wrong. Let me hide all of my leg-related things. And I'm going to consider this a leg-related thing, and I'm going to go put it down with all the other leg-related things. And I mean, you can see that I haven't named any of these layers yet. I will do so once I'm kind of happy with everything, because I don't know how my layer structure is going to be yet. And I don't want to have to be constantly naming layers. That just seems like it would get really obnoxious. So, we're not going to deal with that yet. We're just gonna try to get this going. And if I hide this part, does her shirt feel proportionate to her head? Noises. I don't think it does. I really need to get that round part down. Because then I can really... I'll really be able to feel where the hips should connect. And actually, you know, if anything... Since I'm treating these like pants, I'm gonna put them below the shirt for now. And I'm gonna do it like this. And once they need to become overalls, then I can put them back on top. Or, you know, maybe I'll just do it in 2 layers. Where I figure things out, lower down, and where I do the final rendering, higher up. You know, maybe that makes sense. Okay. Let's try to make sense of some hips here. Let's try to make sense of some hips. So this is actually going to be more like her stomach. So where's her belly button? Probably like right around here. Right around here, I think. This still doesn't look quite right. Okay, no, I got something going here. This is like a hip. Okay, okay. And then her legs will kind of connect underneath, so I shouldn't necessarily change the shape of this. Okay. I think I can see where this leg would connect a little bit better, so I will turn on those ones first. I need to close my layer groups. I think I'm just going to start over here again. Okay. So then her thigh will come out over here. And we're seeing it from the top. So it's okay for it to be a little bit big. And like I said, she doesn't have thick thighs, so I shouldn't overdo it. Okay. And once again, I will use the flesh tone here, and it'll just... We'll immediately see a shin here, or a calf, rather. It'll just come down and kind of out into nothing. Get the little leg stump going there. I think this is actually supposed to be the shoe layer, but that's fine. I can reorder the layers as I see fit. I want it to be A little further in. Have a random brush stroke there. Rather not have it there. I do not need to be creating unnecessary pixel dirt. Okay, and that looks pretty underneath her. That does look pretty underneath her. Man, she still looks totally chibi though, and I will need to fix that. Okay, and then we'll have a foot. I don't know. I'll have it angled this way for now. Heel back here somewhere. I'll just leave it neon green. Her shoes are extremely green anyway. Not this neon, but I will fix that when the time comes. I don't like it twisted that way. Yeah, I don't like that angle. Let me try again. I think that angle's a little bit better. Or you kind of see the heel of her shoe back here. And then the front over there. Okay, I think that's fine for now. We'll see if I want to change it up a little bit later. Okay, and now I will just get this one. I'm just going to make it a solid color. But I think I'd rather have it be the light one. So this leg will connect. This leg will connect here and kind of start going down. And once again, it starts with kind of the meaty part of the thigh since we're not seeing the whole thing. And it'll just kind of come out here and go straight down. And I will try to get a nice extreme angle on that. Okay. Then here we got the flesh tone. Just gonna come down, and I think it's gonna look like a calf right here. Trying to define the muscle groups a little bit to help me see. And I'm gonna try a lighter color just so I can see it a little bit better. This entire exercise is just about seeing. So, it's all good. I will go ahead and put this under her leg there. Maybe just a little bit larger. Okay, and I will rotate all of these just a little. How are we looking now? Are we still kind of bobbleheady? I want to get the twist in her leg right now, so now I'm going to start putting some shadows down. Okay, not bad. Let's see, I still feel like her leg is a little bulbous here, but I will have to stop shortly regardless. But I think that proportionally, this is at least pretty close. I'm not sure if this arm is right yet. I think that still needs a little bit more work. But the legs are looking a lot better. And I want to make her waist here a little bit rounder. Okay, and I will get the shape of things down here just a little bit nicer, maybe. Okay, no, I think it makes sense for us to have a little bit of her backside kind of showing there. Okay, and I'm gonna sculpt her thighs a little bit more. I think this one's actually looking pretty alright. This one's maybe a little bit large still. Really get that narrowed down at the bottom. Reconnect those two. Gonna try to... No, I can't correct it that way. That's not looking good. Maybe if I do it up here... No, that's not looking good either. Okay. It is not quite there, but I think that's about all the time I have to flail at it. So it looks like I will need another day of flailing, but I do think that this is much closer than it was before. It's just I still don't quite feel like her stomach here is underneath her chest. And I think that's the big thing that I need to do. The legs are looking so much better. But if I can get her stomach to appear more underneath her chest, that will solve 90% of my issues. This arm, looking great. This arm needs some work. Her head and facial proportions, you know, ignoring the rest of her body, I think are mostly correct. The eyes look like they're in pretty good places. I am wondering if I should have her eyes more like this. Like, obviously this is wrong with how I have it drawn right now, but having it more like this might make more sense. Like, this was what I was going for initially, but then I kind of changed angles. But if I had the eyes pointing that way, that would mean that I kind of need the head pointing this way, and I don't really like that. So her head is... So maybe I do have it right. These are things I can think about. But I will have to save that for next time, I think. So, closer. Definitely closer. I might end up drawing this part of the shirt like it's not hanging off her shoulder. Because that's kind of how I have it right now, and I think it might be throwing off my sense of perspective. So I'll draw it normally, and then I will start customizing it to how she actually wears it. And then I'll worry about getting her stomach. But this is where I will end up for today. So, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed my flailing. And I hope that some of what I was saying made sense. I tried to explain it where I could, but sometimes I kind of get into an extreme stream of consciousness, and I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But nonetheless, at least for me, this is a very fun exercise. I really, really like extreme perspective, and I have been wanting to draw it for a long time, and the fact that I can actually start getting it accurate now, and actually start getting good with foreshortening, is very exciting to me, because last year I couldn't do that. So, skills. But I hope you're able to make something wonderful today, and I hope that you're able to go out and do all the things that you set out to do, especially if you couldn't do them last year. I'll see you all tomorrow.